So this is a game I'm gonna have a lot of mixed things to say on. And you're gonna hear a lot of complaints from me. But I want to tell you now, and I want you to bear this in mind throughout... the rest of this review, that my experience with this game was almost completely positive. In the interest of transparency and to have a competent, honest review, I'll need to mention the things that I do. Additionally, this review may be lacking in the jokes department, but that's because I honestly don't feel like making jokes about this game. There's not a whole lot of jokes to make about it. So with that, let's get into it. Highway Blossoms is a kinetic novel developed by Alienworks and published by Sekai Project. First released in June 2016 on Steam and the developer's website highwayblossoms.com. Currently, this game sits with very positive reviews on Steam, and despite being a game that underperforms in nearly every category, I have to say that it is truly deserving of this aggregate. The game begins as our main character Amber drives down a long stretch of desert highway alone in her RV, shuffling through cassette tapes, waxing about her recently deceased grandfather, and the music they used to listen to in their frequent cross-country trips when she was young. While driving in her misery, she sees a young woman pulled over on the side of the road, waving down traffic looking for help. Amber, knowing how easily a young woman on these streets could end up on the receiving end of the wrong kind of help, pulls over to give her a hand and send her on her way back to safety as soon as possible. Marina is a young, dumb, yet charming girl, beautiful but seemingly incapable of taking care of even the simplest tasks on her own. The problem with her car was just that she ran out of gas. Amber offers to drive her to a gas station. While at the gas station, Amber hears a tale from the attendant about a treasure buried in this very desert. A series of treasures, in fact, many boxes of gold. This tale is very recent to the area and has many new people coming around in pursuit of it. It is this gold, in fact, that got Marina out of her house and on the highway to begin with. The attendant gives Marina a free copy of the novel that spurred on the rumors about the treasure trove, and the two take off with their jerry can full of gas. When they arrive where Marina's car was supposed to be, they find it stolen. From here, though Amber was skeptical of the tale of the treasure, she agrees to put off her initial plans of attending Coachella and drive Marina to the first rumored location where the treasure could be. What follows is simply an unforgettable story. The emotional wreck Amber gradually falling in love with Marina, while coping with the recent passing of her grandfather. This small contained story between our two main characters takes place on the backdrop of a starkly contrasting treasure hunt across the US desert in all of its grand majesty. Two insecure girls on the adventure of their life traveling the American highway in an RV, battling their insecurities and gradually giving into the feelings of romance that blossoms between the two of them. They meet many new characters along the way, most of which contain a surprising amount of depth. Their adventure brings us to many landmarks of the US desert, Nevada, Las Vegas, and California. Although the story and romance starts off slow, I personally found myself feeling drawn to Marina as a character even faster than Amber did. As their love blossoms, I found myself so many times feeling uplifted by the amazing dialogue and driven nuts by all the times they let their insecurities get in the way or had fate simply intervene. This is a story of characters who could so easily live an amazing happy life with each other if their understandable insecurities didn't repeatedly get in the way. Truly, I loved this game. Its narrative captured me almost immediately. The romance was wonderfully written and felt undeniably relatable, as though I were back in early high school or junior high experiencing these things for myself all over again. The heart-lifting, promising beginnings of a relationship and all the awkwardness that comes with it, the frustration of dealing with insecurities, and the guilt that comes when those insecurities leads you to poor decisions, followed by the comfort of making up, learning from your mistakes, and strengthening yourself and your bonds with others. For me, this game was worth every dollar of its oddly nostalgic experience. But as I said in the beginning, this game underperforms in nearly every area. As you can probably tell from my love of this game, the narrative is exempt from this. Highway Blossoms was made as cheap as a game can be made, with only the necessities to get a story told. What this means is several things. Highway Blossoms has no gameplay mechanics, it's purely an observational experience. While the writing is absolutely fantastic, every other area suffers in some small degree. The visuals are generally great in terms of locations and characters, but sometimes some things stand out as pretty weak and look like they were made in MS Paint. Also, a lack of character poses can lead to some scenes making the characters look oddly vacant or just not matching up with the action going on in text. There are very little sound effects in the game besides ambient noises, and the soundtrack is very minimalistic. Some soundtrack songs, while cool in atmosphere, are a little odd, with one having me question if the low register of the guitar was even in tune. However, some songs were simply amazing and fit the bill of the action in such a way it felt like it itself was part of the narrative. I left the game on auto during the entire playthrough and it took me roughly 9 hours to complete. However, there is an odd glitch with the auto that certain dialogues that are just a single word will not automatically progress. There is a content restoration patch available on the developer's website that adds in some very NSFW Yuri scenes. These are all tasteful and add to the emotional narrative of the story, but installing this patch mid-playthrough will corrupt the dialogue boxes on old saves. Luckily, if you do this, as I did, using the skip option can get you back to where you left off in a new game in just a couple minutes. Also, every time I closed the game, a bug would occur that causes the game to stop responding and force a close. A bug that causes the game to close when the game is closing isn't really an issue to me, but it's very clear it's not supposed to work this way. Lastly, and I think this is the biggest issue for most kinetic novel fans, there is no current voiceovers. Many people who pick up kinetic novels pick them up as something passive to do while multitasking. The fact that there's no voices means you can't do this. That said, despite this game being over a year old, voiceovers are being added in an HD re-release coming at the end of this year. Those who already own the game will be able to receive this re-release for free, and I for one intend to play it again when it comes out and have my heart punched in another time. I reached out to the developer to ask if I could ask some questions, and they humbly obliged. One question I asked was the potential release of a PS4 or Vita version, and the answer right now is a huge, resounding maybe. Currently, there are no plans for it, as all efforts of this incredibly small team are focused on improving the already available game for those who bought it. Following the release of the HD version, anything is possible. After playing this game and seeing the developer's anime-loaded Twitter profile, I have to say this is something I'm damn happy to have played and to represent here on this channel, and I really can't wait to see what they might work on next. When I think of kinetic novels, I never think of the States, but it's clear when your heart is in the right place and you have a genuine interest in telling a genuinely good story, you can make a game to compete with the best of them, even with very little resources to work with. And that's all I'm gonna say on this, folks. I hope this review helped you out, and I hope this review helped out the developers, and I hope you all have a good night, and thanks for watching.